Well, good morning, guys. It is day 3 of our week as we journey through the song The Stand. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Today, we are focused on the chorus. This is the perfect time to share this link so that others can join in with us. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, my Facebook, and Instagram as we process, pray, and walk through the chorus of The Stand. So I'll stand with arms high and heart abandoned, in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to you surrendered. I am is yours. I'll stand with arms high and my heart abandoned, in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to you surrendered. All I am is yours. So I'll stand with arms high and my heart abandoned, in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul surrendered. All I am is yours. This song, I can remember back in my days of college actually singing this song because it was pretty popular at that time. Though again, I said the other day there's a remix that came out, but it was pretty popular at the time. And as I think about my journey with the Lord and what that meant, those who've been around me over the past few years may not know this, but in a gathering of believers, I used to be very just afraid to openly worship. I had a lot of fears and insecurities growing up that everyone was watching me in that time, and a lot of it, I believe, rooted down to my fear that if I worshiped too hard or I was too expressive, that everyone would think, man, he's really going through a lot. And I learned along the way that the enemy was using that to keep me from fully engaging in who Christ was. He was keeping me from also allowing me to do what is right, which is to fear the Lord over man. I feared those around me and what they thought of me more than I feared the Lord. The place where I have graciously been able to come to and grow to over the years is that I say this in the most loving way. I could care less what anyone around me thinks. Not because I want to be rude about that, but it's because I've grown to realize that everyone around me is going through something, and the enemy encourages us to believe that if we are too expressive of our surrender and our love for Christ and what he's done in our lives, then that just tells our story and says, you're going through a lot. And the truth is, it may tell your story, but the power of us surrendering publicly, especially which in a setting which should be the safest place, which is with other believers, it also allows us to testify to the greatness of what God is doing in our lives. There's a verse that I want to share with you guys in Psalm 141. Verse 2 says this: "Let my prayer be counted as an incense before you, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice." When I now look at the time of really any time that I'm worshiping, I see the lifting of my hands or the standing or the physical movement of my body, that it is the place where my heart is. It's my heart's posture that my body is more comfortable with articulating. Now, I am not saying by any means that if we don't lift our hands and stand and react in a certain way or display it physically, that a person's heart is not postured to focus on Christ and sacrifice and surrender to him. But I will say that there is a tension to manage there when we think about the secular arena of life and things that we go through and things we sit in. We will celebrate and we will lift our hands and we will do all these things in a secular arena, and then we get before the Lord and we get together, and it makes us uncomfortable sometimes to see other people being expressive in their worship. Well, worship is a lifestyle, and it is in everything that we do. We are to worship God. But then also, I am at a point where I have seen the wonders of the Lord on my life. I want people to see the difference. I want people to know the difference, and I want people to trust and understand and trust and follow Jesus and trust and know that the things that they are carrying or the reasons that they may want to rejoice, they're not alone. I've seen times just in music and different businesses and professional aspects or success in sports where people don't always like to celebrate with others, and I think the church can help rewrite this understanding. We should celebrate with each other, and the thing is, we will celebrate the wins and the losses of a team, but guys, we have won beyond any competition, beyond any earthly battle or championship that could be ever fought. Because of Jesus, we have been freed, redeemed, and released and restored. And if that is not a reason to stand in awe with your arms extended as high as they can, just as a sign of surrender and God, I thank you, Lord, for your sacrifice. I don't know what else is. I guess I really want to just encourage you guys to actually find ways to do that even throughout the day, especially in the workspace. I think sometimes people think, well, church is this way, but so how can I do it in the world? A lot of times, just telling what God is doing in your life can be very impactful for a believer who is going through a hard time or a person who really isn't sure about what God is doing. Our boys are learning. They're learning how to articulate what God is doing in their lives as we are trying to lead them to the Lord. And it's funny to hear the Jesus answers, how they easily come out. I used to be that kid. But then we're trying to help them connect the heart and the head together to see this is what the Lord is doing and this is how he's moving in your young life, so that one day they will be in awe of who he is and they will stand. Even if they stand alone, they will stand boldly and excited to proclaim that I am a lover of Christ, I am redeemed, and I sacrifice my own pride because of his sacrifice for my life. So I surrender all that I am, and I want them to be so bold in their faith. I don't want my boys to spend time, especially in the gatherings of other believers, where I used to be so insecure and so afraid to just worship. And when I'm a firm believer in consistency. Whether I'm standing on the stage and leading or on the floor, I'm going to worship the same. There's some times where I do just want to sit down, and I will, because my heart is in a place of just surrender as more of just a physical brokenness. And then there's other times where I want to lift my hands and I will sing louder than anyone in the room. And it is, I used to be so insecure about that as well, just afraid that other people were going to hear me and what they thought. And I realized I would spend most of my time focused on other people than focused on God. And it's like, why am I doing that? I can't focus on their thought of me and my story. All I can do is focus on the one who's given me the victory and all of his glory. Jesus. So that's my encouragement to you guys today. Let us stand in awe of the one who gave it all. And his name is Jesus. God, I come to you right now just thanking you so much for who you are. Give us the courage and the strength to stand. Sometimes people may just be faced with standing with their immediate family member just to be able to have that conversation about you and who you are. God, I ask for us to be released today from all the tensions, all the pride and fear and the lies of the enemy. And just let us be brave and be bold in who you are and walk strongly today. Let us live today like we never have before, proclaiming your gospel. I'll stand with my arms high and my heart bending in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to you surrendered. All I am is yours, and I'll stand with arms high and my heart bending in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to you surrender. All I am is yours. yours. Lord, all I am is yours. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Let's stand in awe today of the one who gave it all. Be here tomorrow. Look forward to our time together. Have a blessed day, guys.